this is Kirk Hilliard.
And this is Rusty Bird. It's the Kirk and Bird Show. It's football season, and this is our time of year. Just like with everybody else, ESPN, Fox, FX1, everybody loves football. And so we're bringing it to you, not just the pros or college, but we've got the people in your neighborhood that are getting it done. So we want to welcome today Coach Coach Toler of the Tuscarora High School football team out of Loudoun County. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
We'll get into all that. So we're going to talk about last year. We'll talk about this coming year, and then we'll learn a little bit more about you at the end. But go ahead, Kirk. Tell us where people can find us.
Yeah. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. And we're on all social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And then if you want to listen to us, and the reason why you want to listen to us, if you're going to the gym or the car, we're going to give you analysis of high school football you don't get anywhere else, because Coach Toler knows the newspaper doesn't cover things like they used to. So we're going to get down into personnel, talk about local football. We're doing it all over the state, Loudoun County, Prince William, 757-804. So definitely please check us out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We appreciate all of our viewers. Now, I will say this. Coach, we just had on Coach Daryl Overton, won his Class 6 state championship, broke a lot of records. And he's been on the show a few times. And I was just mentioning as we were getting off how Coach Overton, when he's been on, has gotten the most views on when he's on. So I'm just expecting you, Coach, to go ahead and now give him some competition, and we want this episode to get about 600, 700, or 800 views, because we know that Tuscarora fan base loves you, and just know you can do it.
The community's strong. The community's strong.
Tusky football. They support that program, and you guys have gotten. I mean, we've been here a while, Northern Virginia, but you're relatively new school. You've been in the state championship. You're winning every year. Outside of me having to walk 5 miles from the parking lot to that stadium, I love it. Love that area. Great popcorn, great coffee. I always rate the coffee. And Coach, you're coming off a year. You had 2 losses, both close. They could have went either way. So you've got a 9-2 team. You had a great year last year. May not have ended up the way you want it, but I wanted to go into just talking a little bit about last year, your first year as a head coach, which is, as you well know, I mean, that's a big transition. And then let's talk about your team this year after you've had a couple weeks of camp.
Yeah. So, last year was just a big transition kind of for everybody. But that's the good thing about when you're at a good program, you don't have to change much. You don't have to, do all these different things, sometimes, the best coaching is not overcoaching, right? So it's the same thing. Like when you step into a situation, it's like, hey, I've been here for 5 years. Stuff works, so let's just kind of, right the ship and, see what happens, keep everybody focused. And it was just a big focus on us, last year. That's a big focus for me as a coach in general, is when you focus on you and you don't worry about anything else, it usually ends up all right on a Friday night. You said we lost 2 games last year. We lost 2 games last year by 7 points, and we had 6 turnovers in those 2 games. So
wow,
that's our focus, and, hats off to, both those teams, County, Millbrook, that's not anything, County was phenomenal. Millbrook played us great,
Yeah.
But still 2 losses, 7 points, 6 turnovers. You're not going to win those games. So it's been a focus for us in the off season, us versus us. We have a calendar up in our weight room. It has, our season schedule on it, and every game says Tuscarora, just has a different location, because our whole focus is just doing what we're supposed to do. And if we play the way we're supposed to play and, minimize turnovers and fly around, we can live with the end result when you play like that.
Yeah. Gives us teaching tools. So I watched your scrimmage, and I texted you the other day. I like your quarterback quite a bit. What are your thoughts now that you've been a couple weeks on? You're getting the groove of things. You've got some teaching opportunities from that scrimmage. What are your thoughts on this team?
Oh, it's I've told the team I'm very honest with them, and I told them they have that. I think we have a dangerous word of potential that can hang over us, because the potential's there. We have great kids. They fly around. Their energy level's high. They have fun. There's a lot of smiling going on, but you're teaching guys when to turn it on and off is always a challenge when they're 14 to 18 years old. But going into a game like Stonebridge, we love scrimmaging Stonebridge. Yep. It tells you right away kind of where you are.
Yep.
As far as a program, whether it's physicality, speed, maybe even scheme, because they're going to put you in some binds. And, coming out of that, number one, we were healthy, and number two, I felt like we played pretty well, moved the ball, stopped a dynamic offense. Stonebridge is going to be Stonebridge. I was telling another coach today, they've always been big and strong, but you can tell that speed is the focus over, because when they want to win it all, they got to have some speed to go beat the Highland Springs of the world. And those guys, that's a good football team. And, our kids flew around, didn't back down. And, I'm happy where we are. We got a big challenge this week for our next scrimmage with Musselman, another great program in West Virginia. They fight Martinsburg every year, so, I'll be curious to see, where we are after this week.
Okay. So, Coach, you've got 3 of 5 on the offensive line, I believe, coming back. You lost
Yes, sir.
2 great players. Caleb Netta is going to be playing for my Virginia Tech Hokies. Excited about that. And but you've got dynamic kids. You got Tommy P, the quarterback. I told you in text, I love the way he plays, very athletic. And then you've got 3 receivers, and got a chance. We'll go to defense, but you've got a chance to be dynamic and move the ball. Tell us about your offense and how it's doing so far.
Our offense, for, people have watched it for a while, we are running, we like to run the football, but when you break us down, people are surprised a little bit how we're even, we're going to take what you give us. We want to find out, what you're willing to give up on the defensive side, and go from there. We'll use multiple sets, multiple formations. We're a gap scheme. There's no hiding it as far as running. But, we like being a +1 offense, having that running quarterback. In today's defense has changed so much. The world of, just sitting in a 4-4 cover 3, 8 in the box is gone. And, so as the defense evolved, the offense has evolved, and having a +1 can really help you kind of, the joke in the offseason is have the marker last sometimes, because the offensive coordinator will always say, I'll do this. And the defensive coordinator says, I'll do this, hopefully with the +1, kind of gives you an opportunity, to put your team in good situations as far as, spreading the field, locating vulnerable spots, and, putting the ball in your playmakers' hands.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have, some playmakers coming back, and based on what I've seen, watching some film, good healthy balance of run and pass. You do have new runners, new running backs. Tell us about your new running backs and any other new kids that people ought to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. So our backfield this year is going to be senior Matt Hess. Mm-hmm. He's been a part of the program for 4 years. I always tell people, good programs, again, as a coach, you don't want to fix stuff. And a lot of times good programs, kids got to wait, to get on the field. And he's gotten on the field for us as a junior. He's helped us in some spots, but, this is his time to help us on the offensive side of the ball at running back. We have another senior, Eli Chappell, who's our star outside linebacker. He's going to help us at running back this year. And junior, Zach Walovich, he's a little banged up right now, but he'll be ready to rock and roll. So we have a nice little, backfield there where guys can, keep each other healthy, keep each other, restful. You don't have to worry about, is this guy in? What can he do? It's a good group that can do everything. And we still, Tommy's going to be another person who's going to run the ball for us. There's no hiding that. And so with that in the backfield, I think it'll help open up some of our weapons. Dawson Pugh outside, JB Santos is a ex receiver we have, 6'3", real tall, big wingspan, catch radius. So I'm excited for him. We have a couple ex receivers, we rotate them to keep them fresh. They help, run some plays in when we need to. Preston Harper. receiver Sam Noyd, as another slot. We have a lot of, it's probably my first year in probably maybe ever there where the depth is so big at the skill position. I mean, I can rattle off 2 and 3 deep at each. Tight ends, Alex Carroll, Jonah, and senior Mason Rayborg are all going to be getting reps there just to be fresh. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, Jonah, I know, has been a great defensive player, and he's getting more and more scholarship offers, but you want to get your best players on the field. I know you're working on him with some tight end, like H-back kind of stuff, but switch over to the defense. So you've got some great players coming back and some good players coming up, but your defensive backfield. You're going to be playing some new kids and the linebacker spot. What do you think about your defense so far?
I think that, I think our defense, luckily for us, yes, we lose Caleb up front and JC Wichko, but we have guys, Jonah's coming back, Fletcher's in the middle. Brendan Heinrich is, who played last year. He got hurt in the middle of the year against Briarwoods as a defensive tackle who got varsity reps. Lucas Love, another big inside guy. And so we have a nice rotation that's going to help keep, linemen off of our linebackers. That's important. If you can keep your offensive linemen covered up, linebackers can run free. So, we feel good about that. The back end, we were so deep in the secondary last year with our corners. We have some young guys that probably in years past would have went and played for us last year on a Friday night. Fortunately for us, we were able to develop them. We have Isaiah Lucas at one corner, Ejike Onyora is at the other, Bernardo Rivera. We have a whole bunch. Bernardo's also our backup quarterback, but he's such a great athlete. He's out there helping on defense. So, yes, they're young, but they got a lot of meaningful reps in some games, and they also helped our offense throughout the entire year. That's huge for us. We're big on our guys giving us a scout look, and those guys take pride in it. One of those guys is a captain every week for that reason. Friday nights are a captain because without them, our program doesn't run. And so we feel confident with those guys, just because they're stepping in. They've worked hard to understand the concept of what we're doing, and they communicate and they fly around. I mean, they're great athletes back there.
Coach, I'm looking at your schedule. And I know they come out like every 2 years or maybe some.
Yeah.
And I've said for years, people talk about where we're from, 757. Fairfax is well known, but Loudoun County has some football. You have some great football programs out there, and you just scrimmage Stonebridge. But I do notice that all of your teams on your schedule are Loudoun County teams. Now, they're not all teams that you could meet in the playoffs, but tell me a little bit about that schedule. And did you have any input into the schedule?
This time around, we had a little bit of input. I know that because the county is so big, we have a 10-team conference now. It's split in half. So
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to try to play as many of us as possible in the conference. I think with how this all kind of switched kind of quick, some teams had some stuff lined up. So, we tried to pick up some teams that were around the area. We wanted to, play, Independence, Light Ridge. We're just trying to play some teams that were in our area because there is good football. I was just on, I interviewed for DC Now, and I was talking about how Loudoun County football, I just don't think still, for whatever reason, still doesn't get quite the credit it deserves. I think it's gotten a lot better, but there's no, the competition here is insane. 6-4. I mean, it's stiff.
If you look at the recruits, Coach, college is coming in and recruiting. Everybody gets excited about the Power 5 kids and the big time recruits. And you've got our guy Fletcher Westfall is a great kid, and then you've got Jonah. But there's lots of kids playing Division I football from around the county, and they compete from a performance with the 757 in Richmond. So piggyback on what you're saying, Rusty, I like your schedule. I think your big dates are going to be Woodgrove and Indy. Indy's got a really nice young quarterback, Nick Nassib. He's fun to watch. And then Woodgrove is a program, young. They've already won a state championship. I mean, that's unbelievable. And I'll say one thing. We interviewed Mickey Thompson earlier. 327 victories, 253 in 23 years at Stonebridge. He's had
Mickey, Coach Toler's coming for you. He's coming for you.
The thing is that the point I'm going to make, Coach Toler, is a high tide rises the boats. I mean, look at all the other schools. Heritage made the playoffs last year. You're opening with Heritage. You know, the schools are competing. There is great football in Loudoun County.
But I think the reason it may not is because if you think about this, there's just not a lot of tradition going back over 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Like when I started refereeing high school basketball 25 years ago, there were like there were 4 high schools in the whole county. Like right. You guys could win state. I mean, you look at all the state championships that have happened in the last 15 years. But the problem is people are like, where's that school? Like nobody's heard of it. Like it's a new school opening every other year. Yeah. And then they're good really quick. I mean, I remember Independence. I was like, what is this Independence? And next thing I know, they're like really good. You know, I was like, they didn't even
first year.
Yeah, like the first year. So I think again, it's been like how many schools are in the county now? It's like 13?
I think it's 17.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's 17. And you're right, that hurts. You know, there's so many schools. It's funny, you know, you think about if some of these schools didn't split, like imagine if Tuscarora and Loudoun County didn't split. Like what kind of program would that be in 6A? You know, like you know, so I definitely understand that point of it. But I think, Kirk, you said it too. Like, you know, I think a lot of times we get caught up on the Power 5 stuff. But man, there's a lot of good Division I football players in Loudoun County and Division II football players.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, if you got a football team with a bunch of Division II and Division III football players, you're going to do all right. I mean, college football is a different animal. And so if you have guys that can play at the next level, period, you probably have a successful program.
Absolutely.
So that's a good point too. People don't realize how good you have to be to play D3 football. You've got to be special. And you've got a great environment there. Your basketball team went far, friends with your basketball coach, great baseball team, but you've got a community behind you. Football is already big. So, and you know this, Coach, those head coaching jobs are hard to come by. I mean, they're treasured, and you are set up to do well because the Tusky, man, the gear and the games and the attendance is all great. And we've been watching for years. But at this point, we want to ask you, and we want to talk a little bit about you personally, get to know more about your lineage and let the rest of the county and state know about you. But want to ask you what you think will define a successful season. But you've got new special teams. I want to make sure you talk about that. And why don't you follow that up with, okay, you're sitting in December. What will define a successful year for you?
Yeah, as far as special teams go, you know, we're putting more emphasis on it, even more so than last year. You know, it's one of those things that's easy, you know, because you don't have a lot of teams aren't lucky enough to have 2 platoon, you know, offense is doing their own thing, defense is doing their thing. You know, you got, you know, the programs aren't that big that around here, you know, so you have to really find the time. And when you're putting in stuff schematically, you're like, oh, I gotta look at this for the game. And look, so it's easy to be like, we'll bump that kickoff later, you know? And so this year we focused a lot more on that. We have a young kicker who I'm hoping that will be around with us for about 4 years. So we got a young guy coming up, and you know, so we're excited about that. As far as looking in December, you know, it's funny because it's something that you think about a lot, right? You know, you're 9-1, and then, you know, you have the way the season ended, but you know, it's just what defines success, right? You know, I don't think if you would have asked a lot of people at this time last year when Tuscarora went 9-1, I don't think people would have said yes. If, you know, people knew what we continue to do in the community at our school, to rally, you know, have the whole school and community rally around us, you know, that was special. So what we've done this year is, you guys we've all watched movies before, and our big one is last year wasn't the end, right? So sometimes movies, the movie starts with something kind of, it shakes you, and then the story happens. So that's how we're looking at it, right? Last year was like the catch. It hooked you. This is what happened last year. So now we get to write a story. That's what we've been focused on all year. And we're focusing on each chapter as each week. We always say weeks over wins. What that means, if you're aiming to have a lot of weeks together as a group, you're winning a lot of football games.
Right.
So our chapters are, just built on everything that we can control. We're big on how we respond to everything. We try to teach every day. There's a bunch of things that happen in a day, and how you respond is going to make the outcome, whether it's positive or negative. There are going to be days where something bad happens, but our response is going to dictate how practice goes, how a game goes, how it goes with the teacher, whatever it may be. So success for us this year is controlling what we can control, focusing on us, positively responding to, adversity. Because when you do those things, a lot of times the outcome is what you're looking for. And again, if we do that, and at the end, there's only one winner, there's only one state champion. We're all going for it. But if you do the things, and we try to preach doing it the right way, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, it was a successful season, celebrating each other's successes. The little things, that make a team close. That's what we're focused on at Tuscarora. I don't know if that answered your question, but.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And I was going to say that this is a team that's going to get better, because you're playing some kids that haven't played before, but you've got some weapons. And when I look at your schedule, there's not a game on there that's like, oh, they're going to lose, because some of those, you've got winnable games, and you've 7, 8. I'm just saying, you've got an opportunity to be special, and you've got teaching moments. And then Kettle Run is going down, and Loudoun County lost a lot. We're going to have Coach Redenbaugh on from Loudoun County, but that is there. And you got those teaching moments with the turnovers that we talked about, the 6 and 2 games. So real quick, before we do a quick profile of you, learn more about your past, your family, and what you've done with coaching, we are going to have a VHSL panel where we're going to do predictions and an overview, a preview of the state. It's going to be Matt Hatfield from Virginia Preps, Danny Lewis, who writes for Virginia Preps out of Richmond, Jay Golson, Rusty, and we're also going to have somebody down in Roanoke and Lynchburg. So look out for that. So, Rusty, help us kick off with getting to know Coach Toler a little bit more.
All right, but I do have one thing for my boy Fletcher Westfall. Coach, when we had him on the show the last time, one of the things, and I'm just he did not tell me to say this, but Coach, I need to see when you're in the goal line with like 2 yards to go in the red zone, can we get Fletcher at tailback and just give him the ball? Like, come on, Coach.
We may or may not be working on something. We may or may not be working on something, we got to leave it at that.
Let me just say this, Coach. You do not have to pull a Belichick on this. Like, it doesn't matter if you say we're going to do it. Teams can't prepare for that, Coach. If you say it right now, we get inside the 5-yard line, we're giving the ball to Fletcher 4 plays in a row. Like, there's nothing the coach can do. Like, why would you try to hold that? What? You're not doing a good job of keeping everybody off balance. Like, whoa.
We're going to do that Kansas City Chief roundabout. We're going to spin around in a circle, and then Fletcher will be in the back.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so sweet. That would be so sweet.
And he can run. I mean, when you think 6'8", 330, that kid is athletic. He can run. And I like to say I'm not afraid of a whole lot, but if he was coming, I would get out of
the way, bro. No, but this is the thing. Everybody, this is the part you don't tell them. Like, everybody's going to think he's going to go between the 1, 2, 3. Like, he can go off tackle, man. Everybody's going to come inside. They're going to put 9 people in the box, and you just give it to him off. No, who's come on, man. Who's going to
just throw a smoke screen to him and have the cornerback tackle.
Yeah. Oh, he could be your
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Megatron.
Put him at wide out, bro, and just throw it up, and every time touchdown.
Megatron.
Coach. So if we, I'm gonna do one of those like a classic sports radio guy. Hey, Coach, if I come to the game and you're up 30, you gonna let me call a play?
You would probably make national, your ESPN best of now. So there we go.
I'm telling you the play I'm calling, Coach. I'm telling you.
Fletcher ISO?
Fletcher right. All right. Kirk, let's go ahead on and let's learn a little bit more about Coach Toler. Coach, so last year was your first year. And you took over the program, but tell us a little bit. We know that you were on the staff already with offensive coordinator, but how did you get to Tuscarora? Where did you grow up? Are you from Loudoun County? Did you play football locally or what?
Yeah, actually I am. I'm from Loudoun County. I grew up in Countryside, Virginia. When I was going through high school, there was 5. So Potomac Falls opened up my freshman year.
Oh, I'm old, bro. I remember when that school opened up.
He should be like 12 or 13 years younger than us.
So I hate to interrupt you, Coach, but first year Potomac Falls opened, was there a running back named Bailey?
PJ Bailey, Peyton Bailey.
PJ, yeah. So and it was a couple Baileys that played there.
Yeah. I played Little League with Peyton. He was a good football player. I ended up going to Broad Run. It was one of those weird lines. Like I'm living 4 minutes away, but I'm driving to Broad Run. So I ended up going to Broad Run. I graduated in 2001. Went on to play college football at Frostburg State University.
Oh, cool.
Had a very good career there. I played left tackle. Coached. I did the victory tour, as I like to call it, for a student athlete. I had 5 years to graduate. So my 5th year I coached. I was a student coach, student assistant at Frostburg. So that was a really cool experience. Took a couple years off after I graduated college and I coached 1 year down at Douglas Freeman High School. I lived in Richmond.
Oh, yeah.
So I coached there for a year and then ended up moving back up this way to I coached at Skyline High School. I don't know if you guys heard it. It's in Front Royal.
They were really good last year.
Yeah. So I coached there from 2011 to I guess it was 14, because I came to Loudoun County. I came to the county in 15. So yeah, I was there for 4 football seasons. Ended up being the offensive coordinator for the last year and a half there. Then I came to Broad Run, back, to my alma mater, coached with Coach Griffiths.
Okay.
I was there as offensive line coach. So I was there when Mitch was a freshman and sophomore. We had Meach Hembry. We had some good football teams, some good offensive lines, and
very good teams.
We my last year there is when the year, you guys probably remember it. We missed that field goal from I don't know, it's maybe 20 yards to win the game against Tuscarora, and that's the year in 17 they went to go on to the state championship.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was my last year there, and it was really tough leaving there. Really liked that group. But, I had an opportunity at Tuscarora to come over and have the ability to run the offense. And, it's closer to home. I live in Winchester, Virginia, so it's a little bit closer, just coming straight down 7 from. I live almost across the street from Millbrook, actually.
I know where you are. You're right off of 7.
Yeah, right off of 7. So it's not a bad drive, drive right in. And just I was offensive line coach for a couple of years, and then just kind of started working I started moving around a little bit as offensive coordinator, trying to do a little bit more, kind of float around. And then so I've coached offensive line, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, kind of the gamut. You kind of coach them all at some point, I feel like, when you coach long enough. So coaching, this is, I think, year 16.
Wow.
16 coaching. I started pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
So
are you in the building? Are you a teacher?
Same thing.
Yeah, I am. So when I got into the building, I was a teacher. I was a program teacher for students with intellectual disabilities. So I've been doing that. I've been teaching special education for, I guess it was 13 years. But this year I'm actually I'm going to be teaching PE this year. Got certified, licensed up, and I'll be teaching PE in the building. So it'll be a
cool.
nice little change, but I'll still be able to go see my kiddos down that I've taught for all these years too. So
now,
good mix.
Coach didn't say it, but since he's been at Tuscarora, he's coached the line, running backs. He's coached almost everything on offense. So, from what I'm hearing, you are the reason, Bryce Duke, we've ever even heard the name, right? It's all because of you. All because of you, right?
That guy's one of the hardest working guys I've been around in a football program. I'll tell you what, there are many times where, you call a play and it's not blocked up right, but that guy will just make one guy miss and go 40, and you're just looking around like, it's how you draw it up.
Yeah.
Hey, no. Coach, his dad is my chiropractor, and my back goes out like intermittently. I can pick up a sock the wrong way, and that guy is like a rock star, fixes me up. But I'm just going to say a side note. I think Mitch Griffiths is probably the best quarterback I've seen in 25 years in Northern Virginia. If he was 6'5", we'd be talking about him where he's going in the draft. That kid is a gunslinger, a lot of confidence, great arm. You probably remember his freshman year, that big pass that he made to stun Stonebridge.
Yeah.
Great player. But, Coach, tell us about you've got a family here in Loudoun County, your neighbor in Leesburg.
Yeah. I have a wife, my wife, Elena. She teaches in the building as well. She's an art teacher.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. She's able to be a big part of the program as well. I have 2 kids. I have a daughter who's 10, Atlee, and a son who's 7, Jace. So, they're, life's getting busy, so I know that, I got this window, and my kids love it. They want me to coach, my wife's supportive of it. So
that's great.
I'm fortunate. So they come to the games, and, seeing them afterwards is, makes whatever happens easier. Wins even more sweeter, and a loss, a little bit easier to swallow when, you got your kids running onto the field, realize it's life's bigger than that.
Absolutely. Having the support of a spouse and your kids when you're coaching is huge, man. It is huge. And I've only coached a lot of youth and middle school football, helped out at the high school level. But, the life of a coach, especially the head coach of a high school football program, you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it because you love what you're doing. You're truly giving back to the kids. And so if you have that support from a spouse and your kids, like that means everything in the world.
Right.
Absolutely.
Credit to your wife. The spouses of coaches have a special role. I've known coaches. I stay in touch with high school coaches still that have gone on the college level, and I know their spouses. They become friends, even though I played for them, and that's a big role. So the real question is, Coach, when you get away from everything, we know you don't have a lot of time right now, but do you and Elena, do you stream anything? Do you watch Say Yes to the Dress with her, or
Ozark,
Breaking Bad?
Billions.
So we did Yellowstone. We did Yellowstone. Okay. We've done, we're looking for something new. I mean, she's watching something now that, I'm not that interested. Something Marvelous Miss Maisel or something like that. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I don't know. Yeah. So we, as a family, we'll watch, the kids are big into the Marvel movies. We'll watch that. My son's big into wrestling. So, WWE is big in the house, and we've all kind of rallied around that. We actually went to the one that just came to Fairfax in July.
Yeah.
That was a blast. I don't know if you guys have ever done it. That's a blast for family fun. Oh my gosh. So I just kind of watch whatever they are. Big Orioles fan. So, I've been there through the lean years, and watching this year's been fantastic. I got the family on board on that. I was watching the game before I hopped on here, won an extra inning. So besides that, we watch a lot of reruns. We sound like, people, as a kid, I'd be like, oh, that old person doesn't want to watch anything but, the Andy Griffith Show. Well, here I am watching Married with Children and, King of Queens.
Coach, we do that now. So when I was a kid, we grew up and what we just only had 3 or 4 channels, but a lot of shows we watched were the the Happy Days, the Andy Griffiths, all that stuff. But we watch like Good Times. But what we do now, my wife and I, we DVR and we love going back and watching stuff. So we get Good Times, All in the Family. We're watching All in the Family again. We're watching because the Jeffersons, Maude. We're watching Happy Days. I even like, so when my dad loves a lot of Westerns. So now I have Gunsmoke, all those shows, man. Westerns are the bomb, man. I got my dad, like for years, I could get him a DVD of old Westerns and he loved it. So like now that's my thing. I like the old Westerns, but I also like when the new ones come out. So I love Yellowstone, even though Yellowstone is current day, but the when they go back and they do the prequel stuff,
the 1883 and all
1883,
that stuff.
Yep.
Did you ever watch the series Lonesome Dove?
Oh my goodness, I love Lonesome Dove, man.
No, I've never seen
Rusty, you got it, Rusty. You got to go watch Lonesome Dove now. It's an investment.
It's not long.
It's a time investment.
It's not real long, like it's not like The Wire or Band of Brothers. It's not too bad.
It's like a little mini series, right?
Right.
Like
right.
Okay, definitely. I got that on. I'm gonna go ahead.
I was going to tell you, I know that you guys are familiar with where the chicken nuggets are in Leesburg, Costco, because I was just thinking, all three of us, I don't think there was chicken nuggets. I never eat chicken nuggets, but I wouldn't. You can't.
McDonald's, I've had chicken nuggets for years.
When you were young?
Well, I remember when they came out, but I think I was young.
But I'm just saying, I mean, you can't survive now if your kids don't have chicken nuggets. It's just
chicken nuggets is a must.
Yeah, man.
It's a must.
Oh, bro.
You got to get that rotisserie chicken, man, at Costco.
Yeah.
It's a meal. It's easy. It's warm.
Yeah, our kids love that. And the bad thing is, like, when, as a dad, you go start going by and you see the chicken nuggets left on the plate. I mean, they can't be wasted. So here you are.
No.
4 or 5 chicken nuggets.
Right.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
And when they were little, I could buy like a family pack and break them all up. And then, Daddy had to always steal his. Okay. You've got 2 kids. Kirk has 3. I have 3. So I don't know how your Halloween game is, but with mine, we take the kids out. They have their big pillowcase. We get home because I don't want to hear any fighting. Everybody dumps all their stuff in the middle of the floor, and mommy and daddy get their choices first, and then we do a draft. So we do.
That's awesome! Like a snake draft.
A snake draft, right? With the candy, everybody goes. But look, the kids, they learned years ago. Daddy gets anything that's a Reese's. Like they don't even have. They don't have a chance. Like that just all goes to daddy, and then we have the snake draft.
I like the snake draft all day. That would actually stop a lot of bickering between my son and daughter.
Yeah, because it's some things, and we also have a rule: if there's something you don't like, and somebody else likes it, just go ahead and give it to them. Like if only one kid likes blow pops, just that kid gets all the blow pops.
Right. Hey, Coach, away from football, do you golf? Do you hunt? Do you fish? What are your things you go to?
Yeah, I do. I golf. I'll golf with my father. We'll go out golfing. I love fishing. I don't do it enough. I could care less if I catch anything. I just like hanging out, on a boat. I love being on the water.
Yep.
We like to hike as a family, so we like to go hiking.
For that,
yeah, absolutely. We go to Berkeley Springs a lot. It's like one of our like little family getaways, and it's not far because there's hiking and resorts and stuff that we can go to there. We have a camper. We have a camper. We got actually during over COVID, and we've been rocking it.
My parents did that. Yeah.
Do you haul it, or
we love camping.
You drive one?
We haul it.
Okay.
I got a trailer that we pull behind. So that's kind of what we do. Hang out with family.
Good stuff.
Chincoteague, Virginia. We go down there. That's like that's our happy place as a family.
That go through
go through the water.
Yeah. You got a favorite track out here for golf, and is it out here in Loudoun or
for what? That for golf?
Yeah.
Me and my dad will play a lot. We play at the Winchester Country Club, and there's a bunch of courses out here. Rock Harbor. I don't know if you ever heard of it. I think it's Millbrook's home course. It's a couple of them out here, some course, but beautiful. It's a 36 hole course. kind of built on this old quarry, and it's gorgeous. We have that. Shenandoah Country Club's out here, Blue Ridge Shadow. There's a bunch of really nice golf courses out here just because you have in the valley still. It can be challenging because sometimes you're hitting down into something you can't see. But
yeah.
Coach, what about now see, I don't know Winchester that well, but it's becoming a lot more popular. I love going out there. Once you get past Berryville,
yeah,
basically there. But favorite restaurant? You have a favorite spot?
That's a good one. Out here, there's one. I like Indian food. I don't know if you guys like Indian food.
Love Indian food.
There's a place called Taste of India. It's little restaurant, family owned, right over there by the Costco, in Winchester. I don't know if you're familiar. That's definitely a spot to go to. Union Jack, which is in downtown Winchester. They got some really good food. 50/50 Tap House is a burger place.
Yeah. We ask these kind of questions because it's fun to talk about. I think it's a peek into someone's soul, their musical taste, their food taste, their cinema taste. Rusty and I very much differ upon the best fast food fries. What do you think the best are, Coach?
I am controversial.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I like Arby's curly fries.
Yes!
That's not controversial.
That's a real football coach right there.
There's only one. There's one in Leesburg. There's one in Leesburg. That's all I know about. I don't know where the rest are. That place is not good for my waistline.
So as long as you don't say McDonald's, you're my dog.
They're the best.
Arby's, what they do is they not only have the curly fries, they have the crinkle fries too. And I like both of them.
Yeah, whenever I tell people that, they always give me this weird look, like, they never had Arby's before, and I'm like, come on, man, don't act like you've never been to Arby's.
You are the man, Coach.
They had that the whole time we were growing up on Mercury.
Oh man,
up there going towards you, Rusty.
Yeah. It's one by it was at Big Bethel and Mercury. But so look, Coach, we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. But we do have I have just two more questions for you. We're gonna so we can you were a player and now you're a coach. So we're going to ask you to do two of these. Can you let us know what is your Mount Rushmore? So you're picking 4 of the greatest football players of all time. And then I want your Mount Rushmore of the 4 greatest football coaches of all time. Now, the coaches don't have to just be NFL or professional. So it could include a great college coach. But who would you say are your greatest? And then even the football players, because we know some football players that just didn't get it wasn't the right opportunities in the NFL because of maybe systems and all that. But just who are your top 4 football players of all time and coaches?
All right, I'll go coaches first. Lombardi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Belichick. I'll go Saban.
Yeah.
Man, this 4th one. There's so many good ones. That's so hard. Oh man,
It's just be college. Yeah. You could go college.
Okay,
because college, it's easy to say Bear Bryant.
What?
Oh man.
So let me ask you this: growing up in this area, were you a Joe Gibbs fan?
I was a Joe Gibbs fan. He actually came up and kind of in my head right now too.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go the safe route, and I'm gonna go Bear Bryant. I'll take 2 college.
Okay.
And I'll go 2 pro.
You could not go wrong with that.
Nothing controversial there.
Well, before we'll give you a second to think about your players. Kirk, what about your coaches? Because we haven't done that.
Football, right?
Football.
Okay, I would go Vince Lombardi. He was way ahead of his time. He would be great now, by the way. He would be really good. And he finished up here, by the way. I would go Nick Saban. What Nick Saban has done is unbelievable. The guy's 5 national championships. So
I think
I'd go Nick Saban. I would go. We haven't done this one before. I'm thinking actually Bill Walsh comes to mind. I like Bill Walsh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Innovator.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to be a homer. But a high school football coach that wins over 500 games in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have a great interview with him, by the way, if you guys want to watch it. Mike Smith of Hampton High School is the 3rd winningest coach ever And we were just talking with somebody when we were talking about Mickey's accomplishments. He was an assistant for 7 years before he got the head coaching job. He got the head coaching job in '69. So Mike Smith averaged 10 plus wins, just over 10 and 11 for 50 years. And
that's insane.
He's got 2 players in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
That's insane.
That's my 4.
Well, that's a good one. Really, I mean, all those are great. So I have to just, do this, go with you guys. With Saban and Belichick, like you can't really have a list without those guys. And whether I like their teams or not isn't because I hate Alabama and I hate the Patriots, but it's probably because they win so much and they're always beating my teams. So got mad respect for those guys, mad respect. And then my last, my third one is actually a combination. And I know I'm cheating, but I'm going to go Tony Dungy and Chuck Noll. Tony Dungy is off the Chuck Noll tree, but the impact that Chuck Noll had in drafting those, like he was drafting, but he was coaching, and they won I believe he was the first to win 4 Super Bowls. Yeah. Lombardi won world championships too, but 4 Super Bowls. He probably has the most Hall of Famers that played for him, but he also has a great coaching tree, and then Tony Dungy came from that. But I really respect how Tony Dungy carries himself. I've coached youth in middle school and all that stuff, but the fact that and I'm a Christian, but the fact that Tony Dungy doesn't curse as a coach, and he's got adults, and I'm cursing around kids, like I got mad props for Tony Dungy. And I don't curse that much, but I'm saying I get excited. I would yell at times and get emotional, but the way he carried himself, and then his defenses just were great, and not just being a great defensive coach, but also having a Peyton Manning and allowing him to be great. And so, and then the last one the last one I would know would be would be Bill Walsh. Yeah, because he was such an innovator. Kirk kind of stole that one, so oh well.
It's funny you say Tony Dungy. I'm same with you. We have Uncommon on one of our shirts from just his book, doing the common things in an uncommon way. And cussing's a big thing with us. We try not to, it's, me, I definitely don't, being, in the position we're in, I'm trying not to, but yeah, it's emotional, so it's amazing how a guy is honed all of that and how close he is with himself and his relationship, to be able to just, because sometimes your brain short circuits, as a former player, it's like sometimes, so he's an amazing person to kind of, you want to model yourself after as a coach for sure. And another one I thought of was John Madden though, too, just because of what he did for football as a whole, as far as culturally, but anyways.
Yeah, you go on all day. Absolutely. Yeah. There's best coaches overall in all the sports, but one of the things, I'm not tooting our own horn, but I like watching the episode, is episode 69. We talk about the best high school football players in the history of Virginia, with a caveat that it was their high school career, right? So LT, probably the best player from Virginia. He wasn't that highly recruited, so he's not up there. And that's where we like to talk about, we get into all kinds of layers, and then the feedback from people. They'll start, hey, you forgot about this person, that person, or whatever. But those are fun things, and that's where we like to talk about the local, and hey, maybe we'll do a Loudoun County. We're going to get into Parkview. We're going to get into Alan Pinckney, Jonathan Allen, some of the great players. We should do that, though. Episode 69 is a really good one where we talk about all the best football players.
I'll have to check it out for sure.
All right, Coach. So here we go. Your Mount Rushmore of football players of all time.
Goodness.
And it could be high school, college, or pro.
Oh, man. Okay. My all-time favorite player, this is going to be a very personal Mount Rushmore, I guess. But they're really good too. My all-time favorite player is Reggie White, so he's going to be on. He's going to be on there for me.
Beast. Yes, sir. Great player.
Yeah, I got his Tennessee jersey actually.
Great man.
Absolutely. He's the reason why I'm a Packers fan. I just, I grew up around here, but I couldn't be an Eagles fan. So I still have that Sports Illustrated where he was the first one to really do the free agent thing.
That's right. He sure was.
And I remember he had all these jerseys that cut out on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And I said, wherever he goes, that's going to be my team. And so, I'm a Packers fan because of that. Tom Brady. I don't think anything really else needs to be said for Tom Brady.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to say Barry Sanders. I don't think he gets talked about enough.
That's running back.
If he plays and doesn't retire, Emmitt Smith doesn't come close. I don't think.
Yep. Oh yeah, no doubt.
To the record. And oh man, a fourth as an offensive lineman. I feel like I got to put an offensive lineman in there. You got to have someone to protect Brady. God, there's so many good ones. My all-time favorite offensive lineman was Kyle Turley. If that tells you anything about how I kind of played.
Real tall, right? Real tall.
Yes. From
he threw the helmet. He threw the helmet. That's what we remember.
He threw the helmet. But he's out on my probably. Oh man, it's such a cop out. All right, Ray Lewis. I'll do it.
Oh, you okay? That's great.
I mean, best linebacker.
That's a good one though, ever. Because he overcame. Now we're talking about the best of the best here. Ray Lewis was not a speed burner, didn't have the most natural ability. He worked, and he absolutely is one of the best. But a lot of people don't realize that sideline to sideline, lateral speed. He was, but he was very special.
Yeah. He was special. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kirk, that would be my fourth.
Real quick, are you a huge Packers fan?
So yeah, I am. But it's funny now that I'm, now that I'm kind of more in this role, I don't get to follow it as much because I'm kind of doing high school football stuff. So watch the whole fallout. Like I'm one of those guys. I bought a share when it got open to the public. To own. So just so that was pretty cool. I saw the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah. I was just
okay. Hold on. Let me ask you this, Coach. Now I'm a Bears fan, so big rival, but I played for Bethel High School. We got the same uniforms as the Packers, but I was always a Brett Favre fan. I just loved his style of play. How did you feel with the transition from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers?
I think it was very clunky, kind of just like this one. I think they knew that they had something with Rodgers, and they were obviously right. It's hard because when you draft a guy in the first round, you got to see what he's got, right? Guys are 38 years old, and it's not like Brett was playing bad, but if you can sustain, it's like the Steelers with coaches is what I compare it to, right? Like they go from Noel to Cowher to Tomlin. Like that fan base doesn't even know what it's like to find a head coach. Well, the Packers are the same way for 30 years, which is kind of sad. You only win 2 Super Bowls, but you always knew you were going to be in the playoffs. You're going to contend unless something or someone got hurt. So the Packers fans don't know that feeling yet. We'll see with Jordan Love. I watched a little bit from his game the other day. I mean, he looked good. I think he's in a good spot with LaFleur. I don't think he's going to have him do anything that he's not able to do. And I think that's why Rodgers kind of got a little annoyed because he wanted to be, open up, call what he wanted. And LaFleur is very methodical on what he's setting up and what he's doing. And I think that kind of, where things started going sideways, So
I was just going to tell you, if you're big into the Packers, Carroll Dale, who started 1965 World Championship and won the first 2 Super Bowls, he went to Virginia Tech. He grew up in my mom's hometown. So he was the starting wideout, and my uncle was the starting tailback. My uncle built his house, and my uncle built the church they live in. He's one of the finest men you will ever meet in your life. He's an unbelievable guy, great guy. And I bring it up because I can call him, and it's funny. I had a guy that I went to Virginia Tech with, who had a friend who was a huge Packers fan. And Christians, Carroll Dale is a authentic. His Christianity is very important to him, but this guy was super down on his luck, and I was just like, this guy's really doing bad. And I know him pretty well. I called him up and I said, Carroll, I said, I know people talk to you all the time about the Packers or whatever, because he's had golf tournaments down there where he's had Forrest Gregg, Paul Hornung, Ray Nitschke, Bart.
Wow.
I said, would you do me a favor? Will you call this guy and just talk to him about the Packers? He's like, yeah, give me his number. I got a call 3 days later. He's like, the guy called me and was just like, it was like unbelievable to him, like meeting the stars. He talked to the guy for an hour and a half about
that is great
moments. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's a great guy. My Uncle Bill is 84, 85. He's about 84, 85. My mom was the older girl. She was Miss Wise County beauty contest for her. I can't about that. But yeah, he is such a great man. He lives there. Done a lot of fundraising. And he goes to Green Bay a lot. If he's ever in this area, which he never is, but maybe I can introduce him. He's got great stories.
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, I've been to Green Bay once, and it was a cool experience. Actually, went there for a Monday night game, didn't come back till Thursday because I got snowed in. So it was like the typical like Green Bay experience. It was pretty cool. So
yeah, he goes up there all the time. That Packers Hall of Fame, they do events. He does a lot. So
yeah.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
All right, Kurt, let's get your 4 football players.
Yep. Football players. All right, let's go quick. Let's see. I'm going to go Brady. I don't think he's that great of an individual talent. He doesn't have the best arm. He's not the greatest athlete, but he's won so much, and he has that fifth sense. And I love how competitive he is. I'm sorry. He's not even the best quarterback, but he's one of the top. I agree. Dan Marino, I could name a bunch of. So I would go, and then Joe Montana just had, again, not the most naturally gifted quarterback, but what he could do when the lights are on were unbelievable. And as NFL quarterbacks will tell you, and as quarterbacks will tell you, throwing a football is a lot harder than it looks, especially with.
Oh my gosh,
and then yeah. So you got to go a running back. You got to go, and I do think Barry Sanders is unbelievable. Walter Payton, if he would have won more Super Bowls, was maybe the most talented. I love Barry Sanders. And then I know this is a homer pick, but Lawrence Taylor played in our district. There was just something about him. He was I saw Joe Jacoby on the news today, or some clip, and he was talking about that we're in a golf tournament in Williamsburg. So I would say Lawrence Taylor, with the way that he came in and revolutionized, that hybrid outside linebacker defensive end. It's very rare that you see a defensive player take over a game. So and there's so many more, so many more.
Yep. So I totally agree. I'll just quick explanation. So one, Walter Payton. So I'm a Chicago Bear fan just because of Walter Payton. And I liked them before they won the Super Bowl. You weren't probably even born in 85. When were you born?
Yeah, I was 83. I'll be 40 in a few weeks.
All right. But I was going through high school, even in middle school. He was like he was the greatest football player. I loved the way, and I wanted to run like him. I have number 14 because when I asked the coaches, I wanted to be a running back, and could I wear 34? But I ended up being a quarterback, so I got 14 just because I was just close. Right. But then so Walter Payton, Tom Brady, enough said. Hated the Patriots because they beat everybody, but I had to once he got past 5, I was like, oh, he's a GOAT, period.
Right.
All right. And then the last two, I'm going to say as a combination. They are my last two, but they brought out the best in each other against each other, but then they also played together. And that is Deion Sanders, because he could totally impact the game playing defensive back, but also as a returner. And I love his swag. And then on the other end, Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice may be the greatest receiver of all time, but they battled each other. Then they were
definitely
teammates.
The greatest receiver of all time.
Yeah. And, Jerry Rice wasn't the fastest, but he worked hard. He ran the routes, and he and Deion had some battles that were just incredible. So I'm going to, those are my 4. And, none of us can go wrong with the ones we've said.
Right.
But we're going to wrap it up. I was going to tell you, you had a Hall of Famer at your scrimmage.
Darryl Green was there.
Darryl Green was there.
Yeah, I actually talked to him afterwards. You're right.
Isn't it amazing? I tell you what makes him amazing is he is small, man. He is not a big guy. Yeah, I actually was playing behind him one time at 1757 on Waxpool in Ashburn.
Yeah,
and I hit a 6-iron, the longest I've ever hit it in my life. and it rolled up on him. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm just, they didn't say anything, but that's the worst feeling when you crush a goal. Yeah, but he was out there. I don't know what ties he has to Stonebridge or Tuscarora, but he's lived he's lived in Ashburn for a very long time. He lives in the Stonebridge district now. It used to be Broad Run. He lives right down the road from Broad Run. Yeah. I don't want to say his neighborhood, but very close there. So he's been there for a long time. But yeah.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much for joining us, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
We appreciate what you're doing with that program and just what you do in the building. And we, as a father, just stay the course. You like I said, you're right on Mickey's tail with those wins. You only have about 400 million more to go. So Mickey's, I can tell he's a little worried about it, especially after the other day. But no, but thanks again for joining us. And what you do again, represent your county and everything. So, is there anything I want to give you a chance? Anything you want to say or promote before we wrap it up?
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. Appreciate what you guys do for high school football. It's important. I remember as a kid, there used to be Channel 8 was the big one that did it. They would go around. They would go around to the high school.
What was Glenn's last name?
And
Glenn Harris.
Glenn Harris. I love that.
Yeah, they would go around to the school, show the practices, show the games, and then I just remember running home on Friday nights with your buddies, picking up food and going to watch the highlights. And I feel like we've gotten away from that. I know there's some things, but it's just not. I don't know. I appreciate you guys kind of making it so these guys have stuff to look at or watch or listen to when it comes to what they're doing, because it's an investment for 4 years for these guys, times more. But it's important for those guys where it's just 4 years. The guys that get to keep playing, it's easier for them when it's over. It's hard for those guys that have 4 years, and you guys spotlighting them and the programs is really important. So I appreciate that.
The other thing, Coach, I want to point out on purpose is that we've had crew, we've had soccer, plenty of baseball. Help us out, Rusty. Wrestling,
track,
basketball. Have we had any swimmers? We got to get some swimmers on. But we're equal opportunity, and we understand that those athletes are very important. Also, football is a revenue sport, and basketball, and we love that. But I go to games all the time, man. I'll roll up to a softball game and watch it for a few minutes. I just love the purity of high school sports. So,
absolutely.
Yep. No doubt.
We'll definitely see it. I think I'm going to go to Heritage.
All right. Well, thanks again, Coach. So for Coach Toler, my co-host Kirk Hilliard, this has been the Kirk and Bird Show. We are out.